I know many of you watching this already know this, but when I was young, a new bride, I wish at least one person had said to me that the whole point of getting married is to get your spouse to heaven. Sometimes I think everybody knows that because I've said it so many times, but then I realize no, so many of you don't know that because no one's telling us that. Our priests, our pastors, we're just not being catechized the way we should. So the reason I bring this up is every husband's primary responsibility, of course, as the head of the household. Well, what does the head do? He protects not only the body, but the soul. So every husband, your responsibility is to get your wife to heaven, period. Period. But then the same is true for you wives. How do you get your husband to heaven? So one of the things that I hear often is, or let me just give you an example. Your wife is just hard to live with and you want to leave. Well, then I ask you, if she is hard to live with, and I believe many are, will your decision to leave or to stay bring her closer to heaven or closer to hell? It's just that simple. And it's no different for you wives because actually women are leaving their marriages at a rate higher than men these days. We aren't putting up with stuff because, we're feminist movement and they tell us so we don't have to put up with stuff. Trust me, I'm the one that filed for divorce 40 years ago. I understand just getting to wit's end. But if my decision to leave because of the pain I'm in would set my husband on a path to go towards hell, then I will have to answer to God for that. Not the least of which filing for divorce is a mortal sin. It must be repented of. You must ask God for forgiveness. But apart from that, I think of a woman who recently I had talked to and her husband divorced her. She didn't want the divorce. She still loves her husband. She's standing for marriage no matter what. But she had thought to herself, well, maybe if I annul the marriage because they're Catholic, that at least he will be free from the bond and then he can date whomever he wants. They have 4 children together and one is deceased. And he's struggling with his relationship with God, especially due to the death of the adult deceased child. She said, but I don't want him to go to hell. And so if he dates somebody else, that will be a sin that he may not be aware of or trust in. So if I annul this relationship, then he will be free to date and even marry. But I said to her, do you believe your marriage is valid? She said, absolutely. I said, do you believe that decision, though noble in your motives, would bring your husband closer to God or not? And she said, wow. Because if she did file for this annulment, it would be a shock to his system because he knows her as a very devout Catholic woman. And they do actually have a friendship since the divorce. And so she thought about it and came to the understanding that, yeah, if I did this, it might really throw him for a loop because it would say that I didn't think our marriage was valid. And she knows really the reason he divorced had so much to do with the death of their child and his anger with God. So she decided to continue not annulling the relationship, just to stand. And I've said it in many videos before, just do what you only know to be right and give the consequences to God. But that ultimately is your number one decision. What I do, will this get my spouse to heaven or not? Will it get him closer to heaven, closer to hell? Because every decision is going to move someone one way or another. You need to pick the right direction. So for you young spouses, maybe your parents haven't told you this. Maybe your priest or pastor hasn't told this to you. But if you set out on your marriage with this understanding, this will help you get a different perspective when you're working through the annoying habits that he or she has, or the difficulties, or the really bad things when you find out she has a gambling addiction or a drinking problem, or he's been addicted to porn since he was a child and he never told you about it. If you say, well, I'm just going to run, I could probably find grounds for an annulment. Sure, if you could find grounds for an annulment, if you have to look for them. My question is, what would that look like you're not caring about their soul? You may be the only person to pray that person to heaven. Would you rather give up on them for the sake of your own peace and happiness? Or would you rather stay the course and fight? Or, as God says, deny yourself. Deny your own desire for a thrilling, perfectly wonderfully romantic marriage. Deny yourself. Pick up your cross and follow God. Let me know your thoughts. Were you told this when you got married, or was this something you're just learning today? We can come together. We can start reordering society, start saying the truths that have for too long remained quiet. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching Breakfast with Bacon. And as always, remember to live your life sunny side up.